Well, for more on Bitcoin, let's bring in Mark Dukas. He's a crypto analyst at Bitcoin Live. He's also the founder of BitcoinSmartMoney.com. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Appreciate you having me.
Now, originally, Bitcoin piqued the interest of a lot of small retail investors, but that's been changing rapidly over the years. What is the main appeal of Bitcoin?
So the main appeal right now is the institutional side of investing and the fact that we have inflation and a lot of money printing that's happened. There's been hyperinflation in many countries such as Venezuela, Hungary. And right now, the institutions are seeing that it's the greatest bearer instrument that's ever been created. And due to that fact of inflation and dollars being worth less over time, Bitcoin is a store of value. And that's been demonstrated in its year-over-year growth since its inception.
Now, it's interesting because depending on who you ask, Bitcoin is projected to either skyrocket to six figures at some point or plummet. So then what's been driving Bitcoin's boom over this last year?
So what's been driving the boom over the past year really is the fact that people see the value in this store of value. So with the money printing that's happened here in the United States, we've had about 25 to 30% of our M2 money supply, which has been printed over the past 12 to 15 months. And with that, you have cost of goods and services that will go up over time, but you need to do something with your dollars. And when you store them in something like a digital currency, as in Bitcoin, it provides you with that comfort that the dollars are going to be worth more if you store them into something that grows over time instead of that inflates over time, where Bitcoin's monetary policy is one of a deflationary side of things. So that's what creates its value, and the amount of mining power that goes into verifying its blockchain. It's the most secure computer network in the world, and that's got to account for something. And then when you think of it almost at $60,000 today, it's closer to 100,000 than it is to zero. So to me, it's a success.
Now, obviously, some people were skeptical about the origins of Bitcoin and were wondering about how it's tracked, how it's managed. How would you break that down for them?
So it's tracked through the blockchain, and that's verified through these miners and the hashing power that goes into verifying transactions that happen. So being the most secure payment network in the world, it's got to account for something. It's got to have some form of value. And with that security, it provides that value and store of wealth that it has created over its 11-year run.
So then talk about some of the companies that are now accepting Bitcoin. How do they benefit from that? And what does this tell us about Bitcoin's legitimacy?
So you see Visa over the past few days is going to now enable Bitcoin purchases at over 70 million retailers. You have Overstock, who years ago started accepting Bitcoin. You have a host of different online platforms that accept Bitcoin for payments, whether it's gift cards for the holidays, whether it's to buy yourself something. It has been around for many years. It's just the amount of onboarding that's happening is where we're at that inception point to where the growth is now rapidly compounding. So there were companies like Purse.io in 2015 where you could spend Bitcoin and get anywhere from 15 to 25% off Amazon purchases. So it's been around for years, but now that snowball is starting to build and we're starting to see exponential growth. And in a few short months, we're going to have over 1 billion people have access to this digital currency. Because when you think about money today, 90% of it is digitally based, and that's what Bitcoin and other cryptos are.
And of course, the rise of Bitcoin has also caught the eye of regulators. Now, there's also this distinction as to whether it should be classified as a currency or a commodity. Why is that important?
It's important because you want to have some clear view of what Bitcoin is. And due to the fact that there is this uncertainty of what it is, that provides kind of the return on investment that you can see. When we have a clear-cut view of what something is and everybody's on board and that's into it, then you kind of see that volatility growth start to level off and plateau. But at this point, that unclear answer that we have, whether it's from the IRS, the SEC, whether it's from the ECB, that is kind of what gives it this unknownness. But that unknownness has shown you that year over year, it's provided the growth to allow for capital appreciation. And this is now putting new investors in a point that we've never seen before, where hedge funds got rich and it was the rich getting richer. This gives a point for programmers, people that were early into this, to become that new shift of where new wealth is going to be created.
And just very quickly, have about 15 seconds. With various governments and central bankers having their concerns about cryptocurrency, are you concerned this will eventually lead to more heavy-handed regulation?
I think having some regulation is good for the cryptocurrency space. And when you have things that get regulated, what it does is it allows for a rule set to be put in place so that it can actually grow and the ecosystem can be built properly. Because when there's some confusion and things aren't as clear as they need to be, that's where there can be this gray area of, wait, where do we go? How is this going to grow into the next phase of the ecosystem of digital payments and storages of wealth? So I think this is actually a good thing for the space. The fear that gets involved with this is really overblown. And in the crypto, we call it FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And over time, this is going to start to adopt slowly, and you're going to have that volatility shift to where this is now considered a really good place to park at least 1 to 3% of your net worth.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you so much. Mark Dukas there, crypto analyst at Bitcoin Live and founder of BitcoinSmartMoney.com.